The naira depreciated for the second consecutive day by 8 kobo to 199.13 naira per dollar. In the fixed income space, the central bank offered 30 billion at an OMO auction. The market is expected to react to today's primary market auction, where the Debt Management Office will be offering 48 billion naira in T-bills. Joining us to discuss this space is Bimileke Sule, trader at Mansard Investments. Bimileke, it's great to have you on the show with us today. Good place to start. Obviously, yesterday we had the MPC decision come through. I want to get your thoughts on what happened there.
Yeah, at the MPC meeting, there was actually no differences anyway. The market had actually expected that no changes were going to be made to key policy parameters. As expected, the MPC kept all parameters unchanged. Worthy of note was when the CBN governor alluded to dollarization of the economy, payment of school fees, rents, and all whatnot in dollars, right? That's very challenging. The best CBN can do is to keep sounding it out to market participants that it's illegal to transact businesses in dollars locally in Nigeria. But aside that, there's actually very little the CBN can do. Going beyond that will be tantamount to capital controls, like what actually happened in Ukraine and sometimes last year in Ghana, when the Ghanaian Central Bank actually restricted third-party transfers of dollars from DOM accounts. Doing that will actually lead to capital controls. So CBN doesn't want to do that. So we actually expect naira to remain stable. As we're going towards elections, of course, uncertainty is actually increasing. You know, the main issue we have with Nigeria right now, we have economic uncertainty on one hand, we have political uncertainty on the other hand. Very soon, we're going to be through with the political uncertainty, and what's going to happen after that? The uncertainty reduces. You've already seen significant naira devaluations. S&P has downgraded Nigeria by a notch. So we've actually seen all the risks. So the next thing that's going to happen after elections, there'll be stability. Naira is likely to actually appreciate after elections.
It is. And of course, you know, we saw CBN do that tactic devaluation of the naira. Now, of course, naira is at 199.13. It's interesting, you know, when you talk about this sort of thing and then you start to see it affect your life daily. Because just a couple of months ago when I was in the UK, I was literally withdrawing cash from the ATM using my Nigerian banking card, and I was taking out, about 100,000 naira a day. You know, you could take out £350 at the time. And now I'm hearing, you know, from people in the UK that when you go to the ATM and try to take out money, it only allows you to take out 100 and maybe 180 pounds. So about 60. So even already, this is sort of affecting the lives of day. I was actually surprised to hear that, you know, because I was thinking, what? I mean, is this happening already? I heard it was going to happen, but I didn't think it was something that was going to happen so quickly. So it looks like CBN is really serious about this. Yes.
On one hand, yes, you actually can withdraw pounds or even USD from ATMs anywhere you are. There's also this avenue. There's a limit, fine, but there's always the personal travel allowance, which CBN actually allows banks to sell, about $4,000 to individuals, right? So you can also explore that avenue. And again, it also shows you that CBN is also trying to seal the, to actually put a lead on round tripping, because someone can actually, just as you said, you can go to the ATM, withdraw pounds, keep withdrawing every day, then come back to Nigeria, then sell at the black market. So that's round tripping. So there has to be limits to everything. If you really need dollars, you can order anything online. There's no limit on that. But cash withdrawals, of course, there has to be limits.
Now, of course, let's move over to the fixed income space. We know there was an OMO auction, 30 billion that was offered and 108 sold. So tell us what happened there.
Yeah, same rate, 14.85. In fact, demand was 108. Sale 108, but offered was 30 because market is actually liquid. Market opened by about 251 billion. So, you know, FAC came in, and again, OMO maturities are expected tomorrow. You know, there's going to be a primary auction today as well, and there'll be more OMO maturities. Another thing to really notice is that banks actually have maturities to replace. So CBN knows that. So CBN is keeping the rate steady at 14.85. That's the OMO rate. But when you go back to this to the secondary market, yields have actually trickled down. In the bond space, yields actually crashed from about 16% levels to below 16. So you can't even get anything at 16 anymore. T-bill space as well, yields have really crashed. And as we go into next month, we'll be having about 1.5 trillion maturing. About 535 billion will be maturing, for bonds towards the end of April. and about another trillion will be maturing via automobile. So CBN still has to mop up this liquidity because, of course, there's this moral burden of excess liquidity. It actually pushes asset prices. So CBN has to constantly mop up this liquidity, and banks also, they don't really have any option. Because the other thing you really have to consider is this. As elections are over, uncertainty reduces. Where else do you think our yields will be? I always tell people, if this wasn't an election year, where do you think our yields will be? It will be at 13–14% levels. So now elections are going to be over in a couple of weeks, governorship and gubernatorial elections. So where do you think our yields will be? Fine, some people actually allude to the intention of the US Fed to increase its policy rate. Fine, there's also the ECB action on the other hand that is going to balance this effect. So in the Eurozone, recovery is anemic at best. In the US, it's actually powering up. China is also slowing down. So funds are going to be flowing into the US. 10 years US Treasury notes are still below 2%. So definitely, US investors are still going to be looking towards the EMs to invest, and there you really have yields. So I still think our yields, even at 15% levels on the bond space, is still very attractive.
But how? I mean, how do they compare to yields on fixed income instruments in other countries in Africa?
Yes,
as you say, when they're looking at Africa, emerging markets, and obviously they're going to compare us to other markets here.
Yes, yeah. You compare your risk-adjusted returns. You look at, for instance, as a foreign investor, if I bring in my dollars, and this is what's going to happen after elections, as people bring in funds, naira is going to appreciate marginally, or even stay where it is. Reserves are around $30 billion dollars. So those are the things they look at before they invest. They look at the level. They're going to bring in their funds and where they think. Exchange rates are actually going to be by the time they are leaving. If they think your currency is going to be significantly devalued by the time they'll be leaving, of course they wouldn't be coming in. But it's a feed-forward effect. As more foreign investors come in, naira is going to be stable against the dollar, and of course you're going to be having positive spreads.
Let's leave it there, Gbemileke. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. That was Gbemileke Sule, trader at Mansard Investments.